All right, our class is officially on as we've started recording, and want to welcome everyone to this session. This session is very important for both project managers and business analysts. We're going to be talking about product backlogs. So, what is product backlogs? You can equally call it technical requirements. So in business analysis, we have been following requirements, gathering requirements, documentation, analysis, solutions evaluation, cost-benefit analysis, and finally, we've settled with one solution after our business case and is approved that we are going to implement this solution. Here we know we're talking about CRM, and in CRM, there are so many CRM we've settled once with one CRM. What if we have settled with a CRM like Dynamics 365 CRM? Okay, it doesn't implement itself. At this point, within the initiate stage, all the requirements, they are still at what we call business requirement. They are just business requirements. And the developers do not know how you want to use this solution. Yeah, you need to break it down. You need to translate it from business requirement to technical requirement by creating user stories, acceptance criteria, and the rest of them to know the kind of features you need and how to configure it and customize it to meet your need. So if we are using waterfall approach, you can just call it technical requirement. But if you are using agile approach, you call it product backlogs. Product backlogs, so you know, agile, they have a way of having unique names to everything. So call it product backlogs. So that is it. So let's look at our lesson notes to understand more how to create these product backlogs and look at how the components, step by steps, and templates of a product, so that when you are requested to create your own product backlog, you should be able to create one without struggling, because sure, you are going to be creating a lot of product backlog. If Nanya Evan, please, you can, I don't want to put you on mute. You have to put yourself on mute. If I want to put you, I will remove you. So I'm trying to share my screen. As soon as it comes up, it's coming up. So from our notes, product backlog is an ordered list of work items, tasks, or requirements that the development team needs to complete to deliver a product. It serves as the single source of truth for project requirements in Agile and Scrum methodologies. Like you see here is in Agile. This term, product backlogs, is used in Agile. But if you are working, if you are working on waterfall, you just technical requirement. Call it technical requirement. Technical. So technical requirements, and that's why if you're going to be looking for a job as a BA, you are going to be meeting these terms a lot. Technical business analyst, looking for technical business analysts. So they want to make sure you have good background, a business analyst that can translate business requirements into technical requirements, who can break down products into features, because all the products you see, they are features joined together, they become one product. We already know what product is all about, but if you don't know, let's quickly recap. Product is a software, not like, it's a software. You can call it solution. That's why we say solutions evaluation. We call it product. So all this, when you're hearing all these names, don't get confused. I've said it before, is you can call it solution, you can call it product, you can call it solution, enterprise, so you can call it software, you can call it enterprise application. They are the same thing. This particular Google Doc, this is a product. This is a product of Google, and the name is Google Doc. Google have so many products. Google Meet is a product. Google Mail is a product. All this, Zoom is a product. They are all products. And now they have different features. All these are features. You see, in this, as I'm pointing, file is a feature. I'm pointing edit. They are all features of this product. And if you want to break it down the more, if I click on this, you see all this, it will open up. You see so many other features. So, because this is a product, you see file is a feature and it's too big, we can call it epic, because there are so many features in this file. So to decompose it, we can say let file become epic, and all this becomes new, become a feature under this epic, and open become a feature, and all these features, they become so, some of these features become so big, we break them down into smaller. You see here, this feature download is now a feature under this file called Epic. And you see so many other smaller softwares. All these things are tiny, tiny softwares. And you see, then they can be called user stories. So it's just breaking them down. Okay, just to give us example of what's a backlog. So when you break them down from Epic to features to user stories with their acceptance criteria and other associate tags and bugs included, they become product backlogs or technical requirements. Purpose: prioritization, organize tasks based on value and urgency. Transparency, ensure all team members and stakeholders have visibility into project requirements. Flexibility, allow for dynamic updates based on evolving business need. And Progress tracking helps team measure progress by walking through the backlog items. So when you start working as a BA, you are going to be hearing a lot of PBI. PBI means product backlog items. So all these items inside the product backlog, they are called items. Key features of a product backlog, just like I said, items. You see it here, items. Under items, we have user stories, we have features, we have bug, we have tags, we have enhancement. They're all items. It's left for you to differentiate which item they are. In some softwares, they use the word issues. Some use items. So whichever way, you just know that items are user stories, features, bug, technical, tags, or enhancement. Then another key feature of a backlog is ordering. All the items are ordered in the backlog in the order of their importance. They are prioritized in the order of importance. The most prioritized means the most important or valuable are on top of the backlog. And the less priority, they are at the bottom of the backlog. So that when developers are consuming, the best practice is that the developers, when they are working on the backlog items, they keep on consuming, they start selecting items from on top. On top means the items that are the most important are on top. They can't go down to the bottom of the product backlog and start selecting items from the bottom. It's not allowed. If the product owner feel that an item becomes important and the item is at the bottom of the backlog, they go down and bring them up to the, that's what we mean refinement, grooming. You keep on refining it. The ones that are no longer important, you take it down. The ones that are more important, to bring them up. So, and we have progress tracking. Oh, sorry. We have estimate. Every item has to be estimated. Estimate is that before you work on any item, you must understand how complex that item is. The amount of work needed to complete that item. So this is time and effort. And most of the cases, how to prioritize them, you give a score of like 1 to 10. A range 1 to 10. 1 become the least complex or the least effort. And then 10 becomes the maximum effort or the highest effort or the most complex. So that is the way you prioritize your work. And the way you prioritize it is by voting. All the team members refining the product backlog, everybody will be requested to cast a vote. And after the voting, we come up with the average. The average becomes the estimate. And another feature of a backlog is dynamic nature. Backlog is continuously refined and updated. Keep on refining and updating them to make sure that the maximum value is coming out of that backlog. So if an item who is prioritized high all of a sudden lose value, then you take it down. If an item who has not been so prioritized high becomes so important, you bring it up. So let's look at elements of a backlog. In a backlog, you will see something like this. Epic, we have feature, we have user story, we have acceptance criteria, we have issue type. Issue type, like I said, issue or item. We have issue or item type. We have story point or estimate. Right. For estimate, we have priority, we have JIRA ID, and we have status. This is how it is. JIRA is the software where we are going to be collaborating to carry out the Scrum to do this. So Epic is the high-level grouping of the related functionalities. Then we have features. Features is specific area of functionality under Epic. User story describe the work from the user perspective. Acceptance criteria define the condition for a story to be considered complete. Estimate or item type categorizes product backlog item into feature, task, defect, or enhancement. Story point or estimate is the effort estimate to complete the item. Priority indicates the importance, whether they are high importance, medium importance, or low. JIRA ID is the unique identifier for tracking them inside a JIRA. And current status of the backlog items is to state where they are, whether they are to do, in progress, or done. So that is how your backlog should look like. So if you are capturing this in a table, all these key elements here should be a column. They all should be a column. Okay, let's look at them one by one and add more lights so we have a better understanding of each of them. They are not so complex, it's just a good understanding. You grab them. We'll talk about Epic feature, user stories, and acceptance criteria. An epic is a large body of work that can be broken down into smaller tasks or stories. It's an epic because developers cannot consume this at a go. It needs to be decomposed into smaller, manageable tasks before they can be done. For instance, if you tell a developer to create a file for you, for instance, if you want to replicate this kind of product, let's say we want to create, this is a Word document. Let's say we want to create a better market Word document. We want to create a file. This is too much for developers to create in one go, at a go. It need to be broken down. So this work to create this file can actually take like 6 months to create a file, looking at the amount of work here. So it's not something they can just create in one sprint. If you click on it, you see the amount of work here. You can see there's a lot of work. A lot of work here. Before you can do all these things, there are a lot of work. So that's why they call it epic. It's large body of work. So they need to be broken down in order to be worked upon. It provides a high-level view of what needs to be done and serve as a placeholder for future planning and analysis. Then, if you want to start working on these epics, the first thing you have to do is to break them down into features. So features are a chunk of functionalities that provide valuable outcome to the end users. They are generally larger in scope than user story, but smaller than epic. Features are described in more details than epic and often represent a high level requirement or capability that the software need to have. So you can see in a layman language, it's just about categorization, categorizing your work down to be easy for you. So you can say epic is the main category. Feature is the subcategory. User story is the subcategory, and that's it. If you are not understanding it from all these technical terminologies I'm using, you can then first understand it from the layman perspective, and then try to understand it from the technical perspective. It's important. You must understand it from the technical perspective. These technical jargons, you have to learn how to speak them, because these are the language you need to speak as a business analyst. Then we'll talk about user stories. What are user stories? I've already seen how a user story looks like. See it here under this file. You see this work. New is a feature here, but it needs to be broken down in order to be completed. So if we are breaking new down, you see here documents, new documents, or templates. You see? So that is it. Form a template. You see here is a new this in the cap they've added. Google added to this Word, their Word document. So these are good example of user stories. And if you look at this history, version history is a feature here. And you see here is broken down into name current version, see historical version. And that's it. And if you want to know how this works as well, because it's everywhere, in every software is there. Okay, I'm now on my WhatsApp. If you go to your WhatsApp, go to open a chat on your WhatsApp, and I want us to look at, just do what I asked you to do. Go to your WhatsApp, open a chat on your WhatsApp. Yeah? Can you do that? I want us to understand it from different angles. Who has done that?
Yes, sir.
Has anyone opened the WhatsApp chat? Okay, Jane Nelson, tell us what you see on your WhatsApp where you type message. What do you see there?
Emoji.
Okay.
There's
And what
emoji sign
and what
there.
And what again?
Then there is another sign. When you click on it, there's another sign like a clip. When you click on it, you see gallery,
Attachment.
camera, location,
Attachment.
contact, document,
Okay, it's
audio.
called. Okay, let me
Yes.
tell us. We all are
Attachment.
becoming business analysts. Is what we call this is icon. Okay, the first thing you say is I want you to use the right language. It's called emoji icon. You have to know how to speak it technically. You call emoji icon. Then the next is attachment icon. And again, you see camera icon. Yeah? Good. That is what you are seeing. Okay, all these you are seeing, they are user stories. Okay, how do you want to use this camera icon? Tell me how you want to use this camera icon. I want you to speak how to use it from the user perspective, not my perspective. Tell me how you want to use it. Jane?
Sir.
I'm still on you. Tell me how you are going to use this camera. You said you've opened the WhatsApp, your WhatsApp chat, and you saw camera icon. You can see camera icon.
On my, I'm not seeing camera icon. I'm seeing the emoji icon and the attachments icon.
So
Then
is there any
send.
of you who is seeing camera icon on their chat? I don't know the kind of WhatsApp.
I can see camera.
Then you need to, Jen, you need to update your WhatsApp. Okay, who is that? Who said he or she can see camera? Huh?
Well, sir, let me come in.
I can see something.
I asked, can you see camera icon?
Yes,
Yes.
on top of the WhatsApp, on top. In Android, in iPhone, it might be down. But if you're using Android, you will see.
I say on the chart, on the chart.
I
On the
can see
chat,
camera.
attachment.
Yes.
Okay.
Can be used for to attach any picture or photos to someone. I think that is how it can be used.
No, Mr. Charles, I can see the camera
on the
icon.
chat, you see on the message where you are typing, you will see an attachment icon. Then you will see camera icon where you can press to open the camera. Then you will see where you will record voice note. That's how
It's to snap a picture and attach it or send it to someone.
Okay. Eddie can airbots. Sorry, you've just answered the question.
Yeah, I got it.
So the point here is that I want to see from the user perspective, you know, what a user wants to use this to do, this particular software to do. That's what we call user story. I want you to tell us the story about what you want to achieve, and you just tell us you've told the story. Are you guys getting what user stories is now?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes. So that is what, because so many of you will be on, so many people understand what the word user story means. Is how the user want to use it. That's why we talk about user experience. We design it from the user experience, from the user story. So if I want to tell a story on how I'm going to use this, I'll say, as a user, I want to use this camera icon to attach a photo or image so that I can share it with my friends and families. or send it to my friends and families. That is user story. Simple. Okay. The attachment icon is a user story as well. As a user, I want to attach a document so that I can share it with my WhatsApp group. That is it. So that is user story. So when the developers are configuring or building, coding to develop this particular icon, because this is just an icon, at the back or from the background, their developer environment, they are going to develop, making sure that once you click on this, it's going to take you to where you are going to select attachments. Is where you are going to select a document and attach the document and then send it to someone. Then it's going to work differently with the camera icon. If you click on camera, it's going to take you where in your phone you have a lot of places, photo, gallery. It must take you to where your gallery, where you are going to select a picture and be able to attach it and send it to your friend. If you click on it and it doesn't work, then it becomes a bug. It has error. You know, that is where the bugs come in. And if you click and it doesn't work, then the acceptance criteria will reject it. According to the acceptance criteria, once a user click on the camera icon, the user should be able to select and send the picture to whoever the user wants to. If a user cannot perform that operation, it must not be accepted. That's what we call it acceptance criteria. So if you miss any of these, it cannot be accepted. You, the business analyst, you develop this. So it's the business analyst that creates this user story. Use business analyst, during the requirement gathering, you talk to the users, you talk to the stakeholders to understand what they need. They tell you, just like now, I'm a business analyst. I'm asking Edikan Airport, how do you want to use, how will you want to use this? And now I've captured the user story from her. So now when I'm trying to document, I'll say that this is what the user, Edikan, want to do with this. And if Edikan click on this, Edikan should be able to select a picture and send to the to whoever you want to send it. If a situation that she can't do that, well, I'm not going to accept it from my developers. They have to go and fix it. It becomes a bug, and they have to go and fix it. So this is what it's all about here. That clear? All right. So that is user story. Everybody should be able to be very clear about user story. So a user story are short, simple description of feature told from perspective of the end user or customer. They follow the specific format. As a user, I want to say the action so that I can. So if we apply this example we've just stated, as a WhatsApp user, I want to select a photo. I want to click and select a photo from this camera icon so that I can, what are the benefits? Send it to my loved ones or my friends or my group and things like that. So user story helps team understand what need to be developed from the user point of view and encourage conversation and collaboration between developers, stakeholders, and product owner to establish that or create that. Example, another example here, as a user, I want to be able to log into a system. I want to be able to log into Digital Technology Business School course portal with my email and password so that I can access my personalized dashboard and start watching videos, downloading lesson notes. Yeah. Well, in a situation whereby so many of you will go, you put in the password, username and password, and you click login, and you're not being logged in. It doesn't take you to anywhere. You start calling Mr. Charles. So the acceptance criteria here, acceptance criteria are specific condition, requirement that a user story or feature must meet to be considered complete and satisfactory. They are written from the perspective of the user to define the functionality and behavior of the system. Acceptance criteria helps ensure that the development team and the stakeholder have a shared understanding of what needs to be delivered. For example, this is how you can write acceptance criteria for this particular user story. So, given that I'm on the login page, for instance, Digital Technology Business School login page, when I enter a valid email and a password, then I should be redirected to a personalized dashboard where things will start happening. Mr. Udo on the Joe Corey, put yourself on mute. Okay. This we've been able to discuss major items on acceptance criteria. We've talked about story points and all these other things. So let's look at the full characteristics of a product backlog, what a full product or a complete product backlog should be able to include. We have list of requirements. You must have a list of requirements in the name of product backlog items like epic, feature, user stories, and the rest. So the product backlog item serves as a comprehensive list of all the requirements for the product. The requirement can include features for improvement or technical tasks or bugs. All these are list of requirements. It must be captured. Prioritization. The items in the product backlog must be prioritized. That is the major work of the product owner. You have to prioritize them. No other one does that for the team. It's the product owner decide what is on top and what should be at the bottom. In the situation, if you don't have a product backlog, a product owner, the business analyst serves as the product owner here. So a product backlog must be dynamic and evolving, meaning that requirements can go up or go down, meaning that they can be prioritized high or they can be prioritized high. They can even be removed entirely from the product backlog. User stories or tags, typically items in the product backlog are expressed as user stories, tags, or bugs. Estimation. Every item in the product backlog must be estimated to understand the amount of work needed. So we must know the amount of work we have, how complex they are. Refinement. We must constantly refine our product backlog. It's important so that the developers will not, one day you come and say, I didn't, all this item in the bottom, I wanted. You have to continuously, because developers, their mindset that is the idle or the best practice. They have to be picking items from the top. So whatever you have on the top is what they believe. So it's left for you to keep on refining to make sure that they know the highest value, the most prioritized, and there is no ambiguous item, no vague item. Every item must be understood by everybody. Everybody must be on the same page about every requirement. Transparency. The product backlog must be transparent to all team members, promoting shared understanding of what needs to be accomplished and foster collaboration and sprint planning. This should be a single source of truth where everybody should be, the team must be selecting items. The team should not select items from any other place. It's from that product backlog. That is where they are dipping their hand to select the items they need to work on for the sprint. In Scrum, during sprint planning, a subset of items from the product backlog is selected to be part of the upcoming sprint. The sprint is a period of time where the team have to work on those product backlog items and then convert them into a valuable. It's no longer written, it's no longer documentation, it's now a fact, it's now a feature, it's now happening. So you have, this is where you pick and then convert. This is where you do the building, you do the development. So we have done requirements, not requirement, project management methodologies. During project management methodologies, we've talked about agile project management. So as we are seeing this sprint plot, this and that, it shouldn't be strange to us. Most of these technical languages here, like sprint, Scrum, we should be comfortable hearing about them. Is there anyone still at this moment struggling to understand what Scrum is all about? Is there any of us here who doesn't understand what Scrum means or what sprint means? Okay. We all know what they are, and that's what it should be. Okay. Steps in creating product backlog: identify goals. The product owner have to identify the goal. Define overall objective or outcome the product should achieve. So you, the product owner, like I said, if there is no product owner, the business analyst is always the person. Like if you are working on agile environments where we don't use product owners, business analyst is the person we are talking about. So requirement gathering: collaborate with stakeholders to collect features, user need and technical requirements. Break them down. 3, break down the tasks. Divide high-level requirements into smaller actionable backlog. Prioritize them, rank them. Rank items by business value, urgency, and dependency. Estimate the efforts and continuously refined. Very simple. We've already captured all this. So all these stories we'll be talking about, this is what we're trying to arrive at to create a document like this. And this is a product called D365 ERP Business Central, owned by Microsoft. So this is a backlog for this product. They have so many modules, you know. So in this, they have finance optimization. Under finance optimization, we have a big, we capture it under Epic, is a large body of work. And the features here, we have chart of accounts. And under chart of account, we have a user story. As a finance manager, I want to configure the chart of account to align with company's policies. And the acceptance criteria, chart of account is fully configured, validated, and ready for transaction. So when this chart of account is configured, it must conform to this acceptance criteria. And here you can then decide the issue type. You can call it a user story. You can call it a feature. This is time for you to select the issue type and then story points. Decide how complex it is to do this configuration. And priority, high or low, you decide how high. And then Jira ID. When you move these items into Jira, then the Jira will give it a unique identifier. Because why it's good to have this, the ID, you find some team, I've been in a team where we have more than 3,000 user stories. And if you want to scroll to look for one particular user story, it's going to be difficult. All you need to do is type the ID, and from here you just, you know the ID here, type the ID and it's going to filter it and bring to what you, so that's why it's important to have all this. And then we have status. Every items must always have a status to give us a guide, a track of what we are doing. Have we started working on this? Is it in progress? Is it done? We must know where they are. So you have under finance, you see under finance optimization, you have so many items here. And that's how you break them down into different, and then have a very good product backlog. So we are not going to be reading this one by one. This is just as a guide or view, because we are going to look at live product backlog we use and one we are still using for different other projects. So best practice in this, let's before we go to best practice, let's look at live product backlog. I have 3 live product backlog from different projects or from different products. Here we have a product backlog for, yeah, this should be a CRM product backlog. Sorry, it's loading. Give it some time to load. Okay, while this page, okay, is coming up. Okay, this product backlog is Dynamics 365 CRM product backlog. So it's for Microsoft Dynamics 365 CRM product backlog. So you see, under this product backlog, we have this. Under here, we have software licensing, which is a tax. If you come here, you see we capture it under this issue because software licensing is not a feature and is not a bug. So you just to go and buy a software license. So classify it as a tax here. And yeah. And the team can decide what is the, you can say this is just procurement and we'll give it 5. And how important this is a must have, it's very, very important. Because if we don't have a license, we can't even start doing anything. So until we get the licensing before we can start, and then we come here, we see prioritization is a must-have, and then we have Jira ID. So if we go to Jira, if we add this item to Jira, Jira will give it ID, we'll come here and update it. And once we start to see the status where it is, at this moment, we can see if it's not started, we can see not started, and that's it. This is where it ends. The next item here is not a product backlog. This is a test case. I combine the 2 documents into 1 document to be easy for management. So that's it. You see, then the next epic, you see the next epic here is sales management. Under sales management, we'll have another feature called contact and lead management, and we'll have so many items under contact and lead management. These are we have so many user stories here under contact and lead management, and their acceptance criteria. So that is the document, and then we'll come down here. We see other epics. After sales management, we have within sales management, we have another feature called marketing, LinkedIn integration, sales, order management. And after sales management, we have another epic called customer service management. After customer service management, you come down again, we have field service management. These are different epics. We can equally call them different modules under this. So, and that's it. These are different things. We have marketing management. This is under this CRM and have different features. So you see there's a lot of work here. You keep on refining. When you finish, you decide which the next work to do. So by the time you keep refining and configuring and customization, it can take you even 2 years to finish this. But you can finish this first contact and so that the team can start using this CRM system. You can start using contact and lead management while you are still doing integration, like this integration. Can do the integration later while the team are already working on the the sales the marketing, the sales and marketing department have already started using contact and lead management, and more work can be continue to refine and continue to optimize the product to give the company the highest value. So that's how the product backlog should be. You see, it contains a lot, and is one document that gives you visibility of everything. And when you finish work, that's why I attach, we are coming to this. It's going to be a different, but you use these test cases to test all the user stories here. Let us not digress so much so that we can understand this very well. So that's it. This live product backlog. So we have another product backlog here, and this one, let's see. So this is another product backlog that is not related to CRM. This is another product backlog for Halo ITSM. Halo ITSM is a software for incident management. And you see here, we have features here. We have incident management, we have service management, we have change management, we have knowledge base, we have asset management, we have reporting and analytics, we have vendor management, we have self-portal, we have AI chatbot, we have SLA, that is service level agreement and product. These are all epics. And under epics here, you see the features here. You see feature like ticket login. And under ticket login, you have user stories. Like so, these are, and you see here we have a description, you have acceptance criteria, we have issue type, we have story point, we have prioritization, we have Jira ID, we have status. Just like the first one. You see they are highly related. You have another product backlog for another product, which is not ITSM and is not a CRM, and this is ERP product backlog. So under this, you see this is Dynamics 365 Business Central for finance module. We see under Epics, you see Dynamics 365 ERP Business Central procurement. We have general ledger. Under Epic, we have account receivables. We have account payable. We have cash management. We have finance reporting. We have fixed assets. And we have tax management. And we have intercompany accounting. We have financial closing. We have integrations. We have user interface. So all these are features. And all these features, you start breaking them down into these are epics. Under epics, start breaking them down into features, and features will have user stories, acceptance criteria, we have issue types, we have story points, we have prioritization, we have Jira ID, and we have status. So you see they are all kind of have similarities but different. So the point here is, as a business analyst, you can work on any kind of application. You can implement any application is using this kind of template. You see that this is different. This is ERP. The other one is ITSM. The other one is CRM. You can even bring HR. You can even bring supply chain management. You can even use this for mobile application. You can even use it for just simple websites. You know, just to understand this, and that's it. So let's go to our lesson note. I will share some of these templates, but especially the one that is that's relevant to our project for us to use as a guide to implement or create our own. So let's finish up. All right. Best practice for managing product backlog. Good. Number one, collaborate continuously. Work with stakeholders and team members to keep the backlog relevant, to keep on collaborating and keep refining it. Prioritize ruthlessly. Focus on delivering the most valuable features first. Avoid overloading. Limit the backlog to actionable and relevant items. Define clear acceptance criteria. Ensure that each backlog item is well refined to avoid misunderstanding. Regularly refine. Hold backlog refinement sessions to reassess priorities and add new items. Tools for product backlog management. We have Jira, like that's why we have Jira. Jira is an idol for Agile and Scrum team, providing robust backlog and sprint planning features. Then we have Azure. Azure DevOps is from Microsoft, offer end-to-end tool for managing product backlog. So you see, Jira is the first tool here developed for managing this kind of projects, but later Microsoft developed it. Microsoft Azure DevOps is just like a clone of. So everything you have in Jira, they have it there as well. So if you know how to use Jira, you would already know how to use Azure DevOps. Then Trello is still a product from the same company that have Jira, have Trello. Simple Kanban based for backlog visualization. They help you to visualize your backlog. We equally have Monday.com, customizable workflow and collaboration. Equally help you. We have so many of other tools, even Asana, all of them, they manage. These are just requirements, manage requirement. Even the Camp we are using will help you to manage them. The only thing that so many of these will help, like Jira and Azure will help you so much when you are planning for work within agile environment within the Scrum framework. But items like or tools like Camp do not have sprint functionalities, and that is why we are going to be migrating to Jira at some point while we are doing this. So we're going to be migrating to Jira from Camp. So that's it. And yeah, so we're expected to create a simple product backlog for CRM. So of course, you know your project, you guys on the project already. So I'll be in the planning stage of that is the next stage of your project, which you are entering. I think next week we should be able to, because you know it's 1 month. So by next week, we should be able to create a product backlog, do everything you need to do. We already know how to do that. We'll have a template, so you don't have any excuse for not to be able to create a product backlog. So, and we'll try to be detailed in this lesson. So this is where we are ending it for tonight. So if you have questions, can come up with it. Yeah, sorry, the class is lengthy, but it's worth it. All right, if you have any question for me, that would be very good. I will respond. If you don't have any question, that's still very good. I'll go and rest and have a cup of tea. Yeah. Okay. Biodun, you've got something for us?
Yes, sir. It's a very simple one, sir. Thank you. So I noticed that for the story points, I wanted to ask, how do you assign numbers to them? Because I thought that it would be relative to the priority. So, for
Um,
instance, there was one that we had 5 allocated as for the story points, and then prioritization was must have. So I would imagine that story point should just also be high, because 5 for me means average, no urgency. So
okay.
is there a way that you allocate that? Thank you.
Okay, let me shed more light on that. Um, let me use this one. Okay, on this story point, so everybody can see. I think that's where your question is coming from.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
Okay. Here is the issue type is tax, and story point is 5. What did I say about story point? Story point is the estimate. It doesn't talk about how important this work item is. This work item might not be so difficult to implement, but it's very important. Are you getting it?
I am, yes. Thank you.
So the story point here describes how complex it is to implement that work item. So a work item that is very complex or very difficult to implement will have high story point. To know the amount of work that will be devoted on that work, that is story point. When the story point is high, it means that the effort required from the team to implement that is going to be high. But when the story point is low, the effort requires to implement that work item is going to be very minimal. But that doesn't mean, if the story point is low, does not mean that the work item is not prioritized high. It's different. It has no correlationship with prioritization. I want you to note that. Are you getting it?
Understood, yes.
Story points has no relationship with the prioritization. Prioritization is how important. A work item might be very important, but it's very simple to achieve. For instance, securing a license. If we don't have a license, if we don't have Dynamics 365 CRM license, where do we start? We can't start. We can't no headway. We must get the license before we can start. And to get the license is very easy. Are you getting it? To get the license is just you go to Microsoft, you pay the required amount, you know how many users you want to use. Chinenye, Rosie, and Mr. Austin, I don't know why you guys are disturbing us. So, and that is it. It's very, very simple. So, Biodun, are you okay?
Very clear, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Isaac, Mr. Austin, please put yourself on mute.
Good evening, sir.
Mr. Isaac, you're welcome.
Thank you. Just a quick one. The product backlog, who owns it? Is it the product owner, the BA, or the project manager?
The product backlog, I've said it before, is owned by the product owner. That's what they call it, the product owner. He decides what goes into the backlog and what comes out. Yeah. How does he decide what comes out? Because he prioritizes it and decides what is the most important, and those most important should be on top. So that is what is coming out at every point from what is on top, and he decides what is on top. And what goes into the backlog, he goes to the stakeholders to capture requirements that goes into the backlog. So he owns it. So however the backlog need to be, he owns it. Whatever he wants, if there's an item that need to be deleted from the backlog, he can decide that this item is no longer relevant. I don't need it. That is good. So that is it. That is in agile environment. In waterfall environment, which I said it can be called technical requirements, it's still a list of requirements. Then is the business analyst that owns it. This is the duty of a business analyst to capture and refine with the help of other team members. But this is a core duty of a business analyst in agile, in waterfall environment. But in agile environment, business analysts can equally do it. If there is if finally some team, they are claiming they are operating in agile environment, but not really operating in agile environment. Some of them will not have a product owner. It's either the business analyst will wear the start answering product owner and start doing it, or he can equally do it, but work under product owner, take instruction from the product owner to work on the backlog. So the product owner owns the backlog.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now, another question, please.
Okay.
Let's assume we are using an agile method, and the backlog has been prioritized. We're in a sprint, and the project manager and his team are already executing. When probably there's a change in market conditions, a competitor is rushing to the market with similar products, etc., and a stakeholder says we need to add a certain requirement, a certain function to what is being done in that as the sprint is being executed. How would this be handled? Would the team have to stop what they were doing, the user stories they were executing in that sprint, to add this, or would they have to, take it back to another sprint and
Okay. The way it happens is that when a sprint starts, you cannot add any more item on that sprint when the sprint have started, when they have started building. But you can remove. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
You can remove some work. Any item you feel that is no longer relevant, you can remove it from that the list of items they captured. If it's no longer relevant, or even the sprint itself, you can cancel the sprint. But with the only person that have the right to cancel the sprint is the product owner. If the product owner says, I don't need this sprint anymore, because whatever you guys are going to, the outcome of this sprint is no longer, is obsolete, I don't need it again, it will be cancelled automatically. But it's only the product owner has the right and power to do that. But coming to add item on the work that is going on is not allowed. It's not advisable to avoid confusion. All they can do is plan for that work in another sprint, upcoming sprint.
Okay.
You can plan for it in upcoming sprint, because the sprint is just 2 weeks interval. Another sprint will start. It's only if you don't need all the work item in the whole sprint, you can stop the sprint and then plan for the new work item. But if you still need some items, if you still need value in the current sprint, there is no need of adding item there or stopping it. All you need to do is wait, and then as you are waiting, then the next upcoming sprint, whatever you want to become the highest priority.
Okay. Last question, please.
You are still welcome.
If assuming there was no acceptance criteria from the product owner and the team have executed a sprint and they finished the sprints, all the user stories have been done, and then the product owner and some of the stakeholders are rejecting the outcome of that sprint. To them, it's not met their requirements, not met and the acceptable criteria. What does the product manager do here?
As a matter of fact, you know the answer to this question, because you know that they did not plan any sprint. They didn't they didn't plan anything, because any user story should have acceptance criteria. For the fact that they didn't capture acceptance has nullified all the work they've done. So they didn't do anything. And whoever planned that work should be queried.
So what if they had the team itself had defined their own criteria, success criteria, a definition of done? What if the team is feeling that, look, we had defined from the product backlog?
The team have no rights to do that. They have to follow what is in the product backlog. The team, like I said, the product backlog is owned by the product owner. And the product backlog is a complete set of this you are looking at. So if any person is now planning contrary to what is in the product backlog, you are now planning on another team, not on this particular team. Maybe someone else has employed you to do another work. You are not doing this work.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. All right. The challenges we're having in working in agile environments is that a lot of people claim to be working in agile environment, but in the actual sense, they are not working in the agile environment because they are not observing the full protocol. So, Ms. Elizabeth.
Okay, hello, sir. Good evening. Question is, during some of readings that I've done, I've seen that there are some situations where the feature comes before the epic, right? So they call the biggest, what will I call it, requirement. They call it a feature. Then they call the next one under it epic. Then the next one user story. So I'm wondering,
Under the work you've done.
So under some reading I've done on the business analysis,
that is wrong.
Situations where feature comes first.
And I said that it's wrong. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
It's wrong.
Sir, I don't know, what's it called? Trying to remember this name. When you have like a big organization, and there are multiple teams. Trying to remember.
When I asked you people to read Scrum Guide, did you read it?
Yes, I did.
What did the Scrum Guide say?
Yeah, I mean, the Scrum Guide is saying what you're saying, but
so why are you then bringing other? Anybody can write whatever they want, but
yeah, okay.
We are coming from the single source of truth about agile. That's why after teaching agile, I'll tell people to read Scrum Guide, so that because there's a lot of people are writing a lot of rubbish out there, but the Scrum Guide is clear. And it's just 25, I think it's just 14 pages. direct to the point. So if you are doing any other thing outside what the Scrum Guide is saying, you're on your own. Nobody is forcing you to follow the Scrum Guide. It's not compulsory, but that is what I'm teaching is what the Scrum Guide said. I'm not teaching what any other person said. There are so many things people are writing.
Okay, sir, but it has to do with safe Scrum or something like that.
I've told you what the Scrum Guide said.
All right.
So whether Sci-Fi or whatever, this is it what the Scrum Guide said? Simple. Scrum Guide is an authoritative document about Scrum and is accepted, approved globally. So if you are following every other thing, good and fine, but I'll teach you what I know. It's up to you to follow what you want to follow or read what you want to read. And I will, what you want to read. If there is any extra text I want you to read, I will direct you to go and read it for validation of what I'm teaching. And that's why most of the time I always direct to go and read Scrum Guide.
Okay.
It's not about, I know there are so many certifications there, so many exams, so many training camp. As a matter of fact, I'm not the only person training. I'm not the only person, but what I'm teaching you is what I know. And I believe that what I'm teaching is from the single source of truth when it comes to Scrum, which is the Scrum Guide.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your participation, your contribution, and yeah. So I hope this lesson and the template involved will help you to create the product backlog that you are going to use for your projects, and I wish you success. So I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Thank you.
Have a good night, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good night, Mr. Charles.
You too.
Thank you, sir. Good night, Mr. Charles.
Good night.
Good night, class.